The year was 2019, and a digital ghost began to haunt the acoustic corridors of the internet. A girl with the face of a child but the resonant, velvety chest voice of a seasoned Broadway veteran appeared in high-definition studio videos. Her name was Lucy Thomas. To the casual listener, it was a miracle. To the cynical, it was a glitch in the machine. The sheer perfection of her delivery, the way her vibrato settled into a precise, unwavering frequency, felt almost too clean for the chaotic reality of human vocal cords. In the United States, where pop music was already undergoing an AI identity crisis, Lucy's videos became a flashpoint for a new kind of modern skepticism. The hook was set, a voice that the physics of age, but as the view counts climbed into the hundreds of millions, so did the digital whispers. Was this a generational talent, or were we witnessing the most sophisticated vocal deepfake of the decade? As the global audience grew, the language fence around Lucy Thomas began to tighten. Online forums and technical analysts started to dissect her audio with forensic intensity. Reports suggested that her vocal purity, a high-clarity, low-grit output, was statistically improbable for a teenager. Critics argued that the airflow balance in her recordings was so consistent it mimicked the behavior of high-end digital synthesis rather than organic breath. In the high-stakes world of vocal performance, perfect is often the enemy of authentic. These skeptical reports believed the studio was hiding something, perhaps a heavy reliance on pitch correction or complex vocal layering. Every video released by Cavendish Records was met with a barrage of insider theories, suggesting that her voice was a product of a controlled environment, a polished jewel that could never survive the oxygen of a live arena. For several years, a conspicuous silence defined Lucy's career, the absence of a traditional touring schedule. While her peers were performing in small, gritty clubs to prove their mettle, Lucy remained encased in the amber of high-production music videos. This strategic isolation fueled the fire of speculation. To some, it was a protective measure for a young, developing instrument. To others, it was evidence of a technical limitation. The technical impact of this studio-only reputation meant that her marketability in the United States was stalled by a lack of live-fire evidence. In the music industry, the transition from a controlled booth to the unpredictable acoustics of a stage is where legends are either forged or exposed. The tension reached a boiling point, as fans and detractors alike demanded the one thing Lucy had not yet provided: a raw, unedited, and undeniable performance in front of a living, breathing audience. The pressure cooker finally hissed in early 2024. The narrative had reached a crisis point where the fake allegations were beginning to overshadow the music itself. If Lucy Thomas didn't step onto a stage soon, her legacy would be permanently archived under digital curio rather than artist. The technical stakes were immense. Live performance requires a different kind of stamina, managing vocal load over a 90-minute set while maintaining the intonation that made her a viral sensation. For a singer accused of being a studio construct, any slight crack in the voice or a single off-key note would be weaponized by the skeptics as proof of the fraud. This was no longer just about singing. It was a high-stakes litigation of her career. She wasn't just fighting for a standing ovation. She was fighting to reclaim her own identity from the algorithms that claimed to have created her. The chosen battlefield was Hall in Manchester. It was an intimate venue with unforgiving acoustics, designed to amplify every nuance and every flaw. This was the moment of in media res tension. As the lights dimmed, the air in the room was thick with a unique kind of expectation. This wasn't just a concert, it was an audit. Technical analysts in the crowd were looking for the seams in her performance, the synchronization of her lips, the expansion of her, and the timing of her breaths. The technical impact of the room's reverb meant there was nowhere to hide. If there was an earpiece feeding her a pre-recorded track, or if her airflow balance was a digital lie, the hall's natural resonance would expose it instantly. The silence before she sang her first note was a deafening vacuum, a collective breath held by a global audience watching through 1,000 digital windows. Then she sang. But the twist wasn't that she sounded exactly like the recordings. It was that she sounded better because she sounded human. During the bridge of Unchained Melody, the audience didn't hear a synthesized perfection. They heard the microscopic grit of a real diaphragm under pressure. They saw the physical strain of a high C, the slight tremor in the hands, and the audible intake of breath that studio engineers usually edit out. These imperfections were the ultimate evidence. The very things that make a singer non-perfect were the keys to her authenticity. In a world obsessed with AI-generated beauty, Lucy's live vibrato, variable, emotional, and raw, became a technical middle finger to the skeptics. The fake voice was dead. In its place was a powerhouse that used the physics of the room to prove that her talent was not a product of software, but of soul. The aftermath of the Manchester performance sent shockwaves through the vocal community. The skeptics who had spent years building the fake narrative were forced into a rapid retreat. The language fence shifted from doubt to awe. Professional vocal coaches began analyzing the live footage, pointing to her laryngeal stability and vocal cord closure, as in technique rather than digital trickery. The technical impact was a total of her brand value. By proving she could replicate her studio polish in a live setting, Lucy Thomas transformed from a YouTube phenomenon into a legitimate threat to the classical crossover establishment. However, validation brought its own set of burdens. Now that the world knew the voice was real, the expectations for her next move reached a fever pitch. The digital ghost was gone, replaced by a woman who now had to carry the weight of being too perfect for the real world. To cement her victory over the doubters, Lucy targeted the heart of the vocal world, London's Royal Lane in 2025. This move into musical was a calculated technical escalation. Requires more than just beautiful notes. It requires vocal acting and the ability to project emotion across a massive, historic space. Here, the impact on the track of her career was visible. She wasn't just standing behind a microphone, she was inhabiting characters. This transition required a shift in her technical delivery, moving from the intimate, breathy style of a recording booth to the belt-end mix power required for a West End stage. The narrative shifted from "Is she real?" to "Can she lead?" The Lane performance proved that her voice had the structural integrity to support a full-scale theatrical production, effectively ending the debate about her technical limitations forever. By late 2025, the industry had to reconcile with a new reality. Lucy Thomas had set a standard for vocal purity that few could match. Her discography, now spanning over 7 albums, became a benchmark for technical excellence. The technical impact of her success forced other artists to reconsider their reliance on overprocessing. If a 21-year-old from Wigan could deliver that level of clarity and emotion without the crutch of digital manipulation, what was everyone else's excuse? Her success in 2026 isn't just a personal victory, it's a shift in the musical landscape. She has become the gold standard for the classical crossover genre, blending the discipline of opera with the accessibility of pop. The prodigy tag has been discarded, replaced by the title of virtuoso. The girl everyone thought was a fake has become the most authentic voice of her generation. We end not with a question, but with a reflection on the nature of belief. Lucy Thomas's journey is a modern parable about the uncanny valley. We have become so accustomed to digital deception that when a true, natural talent appears, our first instinct is to look for the wires. Her legacy is the destruction of that cynicism. As she moves into 2026 and beyond, the technical enigma is solved. Her voice wasn't a glitch. It was a reminder of what the human instrument is capable of when pushed to its absolute limit. From the first viral video to the standing ovations in London and Manchester, the story of Lucy Thomas is a testament to the power of staying true to one's craft. She didn't change her voice to suit the skeptics. She simply waited for the world to catch up to her reality. The voice was always real. It was our perception that was broken.